every single shot in super slow motion because that's all we do here at the Pickleball Pirates. That's all I do is pickleball. Pickleball lovers, we may love pickleball just as much as you. And don't forget to have a good day and learn something today. I want you to so bad. Pickleball lovers, super slow motion of the backhand flick and roll. Pickleball lovers, now is the time for innovation at the Pickleball Pirates. What's the difference between a backhand flick and roll in pickleball? I would say it's extremely simple. If it's higher than the net, we're hitting a flick. If it's lower than the net and we want to speed it up, we're hitting a roll.
It's going to be a good night. We have pros hitting the backhand flick. We have super slow motion of that flick and roll. We have trivia. Is this a flick or roll? And what do I do in different scenarios?
So with the flick, I'm going more this way with my wrist, more horizontal.
This is a pro situation. Take a look at this backhand flick. 2 backhand flicks hit by Dylan Frazier and J.W. Johnson. I love watching those two, and they are offensive, right? This is a block flick. It could be a reset, but they're not. They are actually flicking their wrist at the ball, and they gain advantage, and they win the point. When you think of a flick, think flick it down at your opponent's feet because J.W. Johnson didn't exactly get it where he wanted, did he? They still won the point and it was a great counterpunch. This is Cliff Pickleball in the near left-hand corner. Joey, tell me a little more.
With a roll, I'm going more low to high, up to down. Drop that wrist and I have to brush up on it, right? Brush up.
Cliff plays pro. He's a 5.0 plus and he has extremely advanced backhand roll.
Now let's see super slow motion of the backhand roll.
That was the name of this video after all. Go ahead, Joey.
The main problem with the backhand roll, people hitting it too fast. It's below the net. We want to surprise our opponents. We don't have to win the point on that shot. We want to set up the following shot. So hit it at 60%.
If you hit the pickleball at 60% with a lot of spin, you want it to spin down because you're hitting from below the net, right? Look at the wrist drop. Why does the wrist drop? Because the grip is so loose on that paddle. The grip's not loose on this paddle and I can't roll it. I hit it right in the net. It's a loose grip up until impact. And why did I miss this one? It's the main thing 3.0 and 3.5 pickleball players do wrong. They don't lead with the shoulder. It's not a wristy shot. The wrist comes over it. Mike Forster, top right-hand corner, will show you exactly how to hit amazing advanced backhand roll. When I say advanced backhand roll, look at that wrist movement. As the shoulder's coming through, he's letting that wrist drop. But take a look at the one coming up and take a look how he sets it up, right? Because having a backhand roll, like with great power, comes great responsibility.
When you hit that flick or roll at your opponent, aim for the right hip or right shoulder for a right-handed player. It will handcuff them.
So I keep saying advanced backhand roll. This is an example of a decent backhand roll slash flick, right? Because he's not getting that crazy wrist movement on it like Mike Forster, Cliff Pickleball. And take a look, BJ has a really good backhand flick or roll and doesn't use it. So when do you use a good backhand roll? Take a look at Tony Giannani. He's in the near right hand corner and he almost uses it to toy with his opponents. Look at him. Look at his body language. Look at that backhand roll because that very well could have been a dink, right? In many cases, when you first learn that backhand roll, you love it, then it gets you in a lot of trouble. So you have to know when to use it. Check our description. This is one product you can use because it really shows you the difference between a roll and a flick, right? Because Rob is rolling that. If he tried to flick it, he might break that whole machine. It doesn't break. Here's another really good tool.
Like this, you can do this too, but I don't know. That's too risky.
Is this a flick or a roll? Flick. I would say flick. I think you're correct, audience.
Now let's see super slow motion of the backhand flick.
Flicks will have less topspin because you're hitting from above the net on a flick, right? And look at my offhand, my left hand. It's giving me balance. Every time a client comes, I explain this to them and they look at me and say, it feels weird. Well, it does. It does at first, but it's going to give you better balance, which will allow you to look quicker in pickleball because better balance is so important and it's a reason you look slow. It really is. The key to this shot is balance. If you're balanced and you hit a really good shot, you should say, look, I was balanced. That's why I did it. That way, I'm not really falling. If you take a look at this example, what am I doing Wrong. Nothing, actually. That was actually a really good shot. But what am I doing wrong in this example?
A good forehand flick utilizes shoulder, right? A great forehand flick utilizes the wrist with the shoulder. The wrist with the shoulder. Kind of tough to explain, but it's true.
So in those examples, I was way too wristy. If you go back and look, way too wristy. And take a look at this example. Look at my offhand and it's throwing me off balance. So you might not have vertigo. You might just have to use your other pillar of balance, your left hand. If you're right-handed, congratulations, you made it to the game. Is this a flick or roll? Yeah, I would have rolled more. You're correct. You're very smart. Now this is another example of a roll, I believe. Jeez, this night just keeps getting better because the Pickleball Pirates keeps things fun as you learn more. Now, is this a flick or a roll? What's the point? That's a tennis roll. That's Joe Perez. Joe Perez was an amazing tennis player. So you should know your opponents before you play them because if they have that shot, you have to look out for it. It is deadly. And if your opponents play tennis, they might shake and bake, poach. Mark Napatovich is in the red shirt. He's pinching middle. Pinching middle means you're really straddling the kitchen, and he's hitting that shot. So that is more of a flick. Yeah, I agree. That is a flick. You're a very smart audience. You might listen to me more. I have more videos. That gotta be a roll. That's Joe Perez. He was a tennis phenom. His son's pretty incredible, plays pro, and that is a tennis roll. I'm doing really well. You're doing really well at home, unless you're watching in the car. Then I would say you probably shouldn't be watching in the car, unless you're not driving, you know? But that's a roll. That's a ping pong roll. Mark Napatovich comes from badminton, so lots of times if you see your opponents come from those sports, they'll be wristier. Different strokes for different folks. Now this is another ping pong roll, badminton roll, whatever you want to call it. Look at this shot. This is an off-speed backhand roll at the head that would have went in because it has so much topspin from those grooving paddles, which you could check the description for. In this point, watch Mark Napatovich in the blue shirt. He does something incredible. He straddles middle when his partner was out wide, because in amateur play, you don't always have to run to the middle all the time. Why don't you let your partner really help you out? Hit that backhand flick or roll. I believe that's a roll.
Pickleball lovers, super slow motion of the drop serve. Now is the time for innovation here at the Pickleball Pirates. Super slow motion of the drop serve.
With the super slow motion series here at the Pickleball Pirates, we're going to get your drop serve where it needs to be in 3 minutes. The mechanics are fairly simple. So many people make common mistakes, they really do. So let's get started right now.
Take note, you can't throw that ball at the ground. No downward pressure can be applied, so hold it as high as you can, like I said before, and drop it.
This is a good example of me holding the ball as high as I can above my head. But am I applying downward pressure? A little. Could it get caught in a tournament? Maybe. Maybe it could. I hold the ball as high as I can above my head because I want the optimal bounce. Because I want it to bounce as high as possible.
You just need 1 foot behind that line when you serve. If the other foot is in the air, that's okay. However, if the other foot steps on the court, like in this example, it's a bad serve. You lose a point. It's a fault.
My right foot is behind the line, that's fine, but my left foot hit the court before I hit the ball, so it's a fault. I think it's fairly simple.
Now with the traditional serve, contact has to be made in an upward motion. The wrist has to be below the navel. That's not the exact terminology. However, with the drop serve, you don't need to do that. You can hit from high to low. You can hit a crazy Western stance forehand if you were a tennis player, and I would advise that. I would advise that very much.
In this example, I'm hitting the forehand slice, which you could not do with the traditional serve. I'm starting that paddle high. I'm coming down on it. It's a downward motion.
Is this serve legal?
Let's see if we can determine if this serve is legal together. No downward pressure was applied on that ball. Legal so far. 2 feet on the ground, 1 foot on the ground, still okay. That's fine, and we're legal, right? That foot is moving in the court. We're fine because we hit the ball already. We're getting somewhere now. No one thought I could coach, but I can.
Is this serve illegal?
The only way this serve would be illegal if my left foot was touching that line, which it may be. Otherwise, it's fine to have that paddle going in downward motion. We're good. It's a drop serve. And that's a Spin Shot ball machine. This segment is brought to you by Spin Shot. I use it all the time. Check the description for pickleball discounts. That way I can keep doing this and you can save money. Is this serve legal? No, my left foot is on the court before impact.
One more thing about the drop serve. You have a lot of coaches teaching start out with the right leg, right foot pointed sideways. That way you can clear your hips more, right? So you just drop it and then swing, and that way you don't have as many moving parts. So something to think about.
See how I'm stepping with that right foot? You could start your motion right there. With that right foot facing the fence sideways, that way it gives you a chance to clear your hips. That's why people do it. The right foot is facing the fence and your rotation is always perfect. However, my left foot was on the court at impact, so it's illegal. It's illegal. Is this illegal or legal? Ask me. I definitely dropped that ball. No downward pressure was applied. I jump. I almost jump. Both my feet are almost off the ground. So it's a real judgment call. It really is. Because if both feet are off the ground, it's illegal. I really think I kept one foot on. I have been called for that in tournaments though. And is this legal? A one-handed backhand attack off the serve. That's what you can do with this drop serve. It's so exciting. And is this legal? That was, by the way. The first thing I see, no downward pressure was applied. I'm coming in a downward movement. I'm not allowed to do that with the traditional serve, but I'm allowed to do it with the drop serve. The drop serve is effective. It's worth learning. You'll get more easy points. You can hit down on it. You got your coach and Joey, that's me, and I'm going to keep the segments coming. Trust in pickleball. I trust in you, and I remember to have a good day always.
Pickleball lovers, do you have trouble against bangers? Are you popping the ball up? And are they making you look bad? Are they hitting you? You let me know.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun.
I'm going to go over the steps to block effectively against bangers. Then I'm going to give my personal opinion, right? Because everyone gives these steps. 1, paddle out in front. Everyone really knows that, right? Paddle out in front. We don't want to what? Swing. Because when we bring that paddle back, right? What happens when we come forward? It pops up, right? So what do we want to do? And this is my experience, right? See this hand right here. No one understands this point. I've tried to tell so many people. This balances you so you can get this hand farther out in the kitchen. I have nothing on my hand, thank God. But what I'm saying is, this is so important, right? Right? Like I'm a knight fighting someone, and I can get farther out in the kitchen, and this helps me block against bangers. I hope that makes sense, because you have no idea how crazy I've been going, because no one really understands this, because we don't want to take the paddle back, because when we do, we come forward, it pops up.
To dream, believe in strength, now I'm the...
Is this a good block by Mark? Because it probably brought the banger into the kitchen, right? It didn't pop up. It probably landed into the kitchen and worked, right? He has nice soft hands. He could have been a little farther out. That offhand could have been a little farther, but it works.
I'm not even on step 2. Another thing people do, right? They bring it back in a downward motion. What's going to happen? They're going to go in an upward motion. So what do I do? Start here, right? We're starting here. We don't have this crazy take back. We start here. But how do we start there? Oh my God, I love this left hand so much. I really do. But this is keeping me balanced so I can go out in the kitchen and I'm not swinging. I made that twist video. No one understood that. I made the core video, like kind of shift your core so we can keep that paddle out in front. I've talked way too long already. Let me keep going. Number 2, anticipate. Mark Napotovich wrote this list. He's a senior pro. He sent it to me, and he goes, make a video. It's like 7 points with 2 words. That's it, Mark. But I understand.
I was an ordinary boy.
I love how you didn't go too far out in the kitchen, right? The sweet spot is about 1.5 feet in front of you, and you crushed it. You're relaxed. You can have your offhand a little farther out towards the fence so we can get farther out in the kitchen with the other hand. Balances everything. That's all I'm saying.
3, don't back up. Yeah, it is so true, right? Because when we back up, what do? We're falling back already. And this angle might pop up a little, right? So if we're falling back and taking a lot of those small steps, we're in trouble. What I would suggest, if you hit a really short return and you know that's coming extremely hard at you, like it's coming extremely hard at you, you can take a quick, maybe hop back, not even hop, like 2 big steps back, right? But we need to be set when the other person is hitting. When I'm coaching, the main thing I see is this, right? Small steps back, and then you can fall too. So maybe 1 or 2 big steps back, we get set, we're dynamic, and we're balanced. 4, keep your hands semi-relaxed when we're doing that block, right? Against bangers. Why should we keep it semi-relaxed? So we can absorb some pressure, right? So if the ball's coming really hard, I have a really loose grip. But if it's not coming super hard, firm, right? And I'm not swinging, right? This brings about the whole concept about grip pressure. I utilize grip pressure and I don't swing to see how far or soft I want the ball to go.
Until I walk awake, scream my mind, I shout the ground.
Channel your inner child today, Mark Napotovich, because this is a good segment. It really is. And take a look. Is this a good block? That offhand is stabilizing him. He's balanced. He blocks it at the bangers. What? The what? The feet. You got it. You know it. You know how to do it. And we're going to get it done today because it's going to be a good day. One more time. That offhand could be a little farther towards the fence.
5, and this is actually a very good point. Our opponents serve. We return. We want to keep them back, right? But what should we do sometimes? Drop it in the kitchen, right? Bring those bangers to the kitchen once in a while. Other than that, hit it at the feet deep, right? But once in a while, maybe every 4 or 5 points, do this. Bring them into the kitchen. They don't like it. They don't like it at all. They're bangers. They don't like dinking by definition. They don't like dinking by definition. I love it. Number 6, and italicize this and highlight it. Do not swing. At 6, don't swing. Number 7, try to get the ball to the opponent's backhand. Most bangers have these huge forehands, huge, right? And the backhands aren't as big. I mean, it might be pretty good, but I would like my chances getting the ball to the backhand. Blocking the ball back to the backhand, not swinging, holding this hand up and looking a little funny, but it works. It really does. Number 8, and let's spend an hour on it, because it will really help you win tournament games, because all amateur players do this way too much. If it's high, let's not hit out balls just for today. If we could do that, that would be incredible just for today, because hitting out balls is what bangers love, right? Once they see you hit that first out ball, it's over, because they can do anything. They look a lot faster, right? We're hitting these out balls. We're swinging too much. We're falling apart inside, and we don't have to today. So don't hit out balls. What's the most important shot in pickleball? I would say the 3rd shot drop, so let's look at it in super slow motion right now. Pickleball lovers, don't forget to have a good day.
It's time for innovation here at the Pickleball Pirates. I know what you want to do. You want to get your 3rd shot more consistent, and I'm going to show you how to do it right now.
When I'm coaching my clients and we're working on that 3rd shot drop, I put a broom in the middle of the net, so it's like 6 feet high, right? That way they can clear the net by at least 2 feet, and in a tournament when it's windy, they don't have to worry.
This is senior pro Joe Perez. Watch him move forward as he hits that drop. It's dynamic steps. He's not running, because if you run, it's going to get hit at your feet and you're going to be in trouble. Now, Joe is coming from tennis, right? Look at his 3rd shot drop as a tennis player. Mark Napotovich, on the other hand, is coming from badminton. That's Mark right there, right on cue. Is this a good drop? Is this a good pickleball drop? Is he moving forward? I don't think so. Not the best form. Take a look at this one. I think this is a really good drop. He's balanced. He can move forward. I'm feeding him balls at this point, but he's ready to move forward at the net. Is this a good drop? This is Keith Valentine, the original pickleball pirate. I like it. Now he is coming from volleyball. If you see tennis players, they drop like this, right? Pickleball players drop like this. What's right? What's wrong? I would say there's no right answer. I do have more consistency dropping like this. I am a tennis player. I do drop like this sometimes if it's out wide, but keeping that elbow close to your body may make you more consistent. It just may. That tip right there will make this video has changed my game completely. This was my tennis drop. It's not bad. I still do it when I'm on the run, right? If it's out wide, I have to do it. However, if I have a chance to really do this, I do it because I get as much spin. The new paddles are made to get spin that way, and I think I'm more consistent. I know I am. When we drop, we want to go forward, right? You see a lot of people drop on that back foot or falling back. However, we want to be moving forward, pushing off that right foot, going directly, vertically to the kitchen, which is where we win most games in pickleball, I think. Is this a good drop by Mark Napatovich? Is this a good third shot drop? No, he's leaning back. Mark, what the heck are you doing, man? You're ruining the video. You see this a lot with 3 and 3-5 players. You really do. Here's another view. He should be moving forward a little more. It will make it more consistent. He'll be moving towards the kitchen, which is the point of pickleball. Don't make the same mistake of all the slain pickleball players. Be your own person. Another mistake a lot of 3-5 players make is they have a loose wrist. It's a wet noodle, and it really flies. It's not going to be very consistent. If you see 3-0 and 3-5 players that are running through their drops, when this happens, the arm gets behind the body and you have to come through. Is this a good third shot drop? Looks pretty good. Setup look good. I like it. I like it because Mark could move forward after that. He's balanced. A tip I would recommend on the third shot drop to make yourself more consistent is to hit the ball on the down bounce. So not at the peak. It reached its peak. It's moving down. Hit it then and hit the bottom of the ball, especially if they sliced. This is Keith. Is this a good third shot drop? No, he's running through it. Oh gosh. When you do this, you can probably hit the ball in the net or out. Plus, they're going to hit the ball at your feet. Keith, I know you're upset, but everyone hits the ball at your feet in pickleball, right? So don't be running and off balance. Hit a third shot drop like this, and you become more consistent at pickleball. So we saw Mark drop in super slow motion. How is he getting so much topspin? Because he's going like this, right? His wrist is behind his arm almost, and as he hits it, it comes through. So that puts a lot of topspin with those carbon fiber paddles. It really does. The backhand drop is targeted, especially if you're playing 3-5 tournaments, so it's important. This is a really good example of a backhand push third shot drop. Wrist should be locked. It's not like the slice return. That's totally different. It's a fallacy. If you're slicing that backhand drop, don't come really fast across it like you're returning the backhand slice return. It's a different shot. It's more of a consistent shot. That wrist is locked. Is this a good third shot drop? No, he cut under it way too much, right? Way too much. Paddle face way too open. How about this? No, he stopped too abruptly. It has to be more of a full motion. Now, Mark is coming from badminton, so it is somewhat different than if you're coming from tennis or other sports, so keep this in mind. Keep it in mind. One shot I've been working on is coming over that backhand drop with one hand or two hands, but if you put topspin on it, it might be tougher to attack with those new carbon fiber paddles. Think of an inverted backhand topspin dink or backhand topspin dink, and I'm hitting that from the baseline. It's that simple. I'm dinking from the baseline, topspin, dink. Here's another good view. What do you get annoyed most by in pickleball? Your stupid friends hitting lobs on you. So let's learn the overhead right now. Super slow motion of the overhead in pickleball. Innovation is not dead here at the Pickleball Pirates. Welcome to the main event. This point is a very good simulation of what you can use an overhead to do to win the point because it gains advantage of the point many times. Unlike tennis, the court's a lot smaller. You can't hit as many angles. Go down the middle more. This will create confusion for your opponents. And you might have to do that if you're 6'7" and look like BJ. He looks kind of like a guy from Lord of the Rings with Mark. You know, maybe he's a dwarf. Let's get back on track. The overhead in super slow motion right now. That's Mark hitting it. Here it is, right? What are his mechanics? First of all, he puts his left hand up. He's right-handed. That turns his shoulders. Once those shoulders are turned, he can really whip around, and it's a loose wrist, right? It's really like a whip. Here's a different angle. Take a look, right? He's putting that left hand up. It turns his shoulders. Then he comes through, really whips it around. And look at all that power he gets. It's really a ton of power. Here's Keith Valentine doing it. Again, left hand goes up, right? He's shielding his hand from the sun. It's extremely sunny as well. So think about that if you do. And you might whiff if it's really sunny, just like that.
When I'm getting ready to hit the overhead, I have two hands on the paddle. Then I go like this. I point my left hand at the ball. It gets my shoulders turned. Then I really snap that wrist at impact. That snap of the wrist will really give you a lot of power. It really will.
Take a look at these two overheads, right? We're going back in slow motion, so don't worry. The first one, he's on the kitchen line and can't scissor kick, right? Because he would touch the kitchen. The second one, he decides to scissor kick. What happens when you decide to scissor kick when you're close to the kitchen? That. He stepped on the kitchen line. That's a fault. Even though he missed that, that's a fault. And that happens all the time. This is what happens in super slow motion. This is Mark Napotovich. He's senior pro. He's on this channel. And he knows how to hit an overhead.
If you're coming over from tennis, you're going to do that scissor kick, right? But if you're too close to the kitchen line, what are you going to do? You're going to foot fault. That's correct. Another thing I see when I'm coaching tennis players convert into pickleball is they try to do too many angles with that overhead lob like in tennis. But the court's a lot smaller in pickleball, a lot smaller. So down the middle twice and then angle. Think about it.
Take a look at this point because it's really good. So I put up the full point. I know all pickleball lovers here. JD, Ernie's, Cliff throws up the lob. Look at Jonathan. Deep middle. Deep middle works. Deep middle again. Somewhat, right? Middle, right. But middle works. Middle can win. The next one I would have went out wide because they're both jumping in the middle for it. And that opens up that angle.
When people lob you, don't take all those small steps. This is what happens right here. You'll be injured.
I was at Pear Park about 2 years ago. A lady hit her head. Ambulance came. I did win the game. She had to forfeit. Joking aside, she was okay, but taking too many small steps will lead to this.
Here's the trick. If you're right-handed, point with your left hand at the ball. This will get your shoulders turned. That way, when you come through, you'll get a lot more power. A lot more power.
Any type of swing, I don't care what it is. Let's take a golf swing. When you swing that golf club, where is that power coming from when you clear your hips?
When I'm teaching my clients with bad shoulders, bad rotator cuffs, I like to teach them the sky hook, right? You're coming almost around your body. You're not really hurting that rotator cuff. And it really can be effective. It really can.
Take a look at Keith Valentine. He's using the skyhook right here. It doesn't have to win the point. It can, but it will get you back in the point. It's effective for coverage, and it doesn't hurt your rotator cuff. Here's another shot when he's hitting that sky hook. He's pretty athletic. He's coming from volleyball. So it depends what sport you come from. Most volleyball players have really good overheads. Mark comes from badminton, so he has a little more of a wrist snap, right? A little snappy snap. Snap.
Words of pickleball wisdom. If you think they hit way too good of a lob, it may be going out, so I would look where your feet are. I really would.
When you're going for an overhead and you're saying, this is going to be way too tough, I think it might be going out, maybe you should let it go out or listen to your partner. Communication is key in pickleball, and vice versa. If your partner is going for one, really communicate, because this one, Keith thinks it's going out, and it goes out. That was close. May have been out. What shot is Keith hitting here? The sky hook, right? Because he's not hurting that rotator cuff. He did almost twist his ankle on that ball, Keith. Watch out. Look at how much torque Keith gets on this overhead. He did come from volleyball. That's really athletic.
When you dink with spin. Let's weigh the benefits and liabilities right now.
I forgot to have a good day once. Today is not that day. This is the best video I've ever made. Dinking with spin. What does it mean? That. What power you could have. What responsibility you could hold. However, with great power comes great responsibility.
The Pickleball Pirates has opened its doors to 3-5 and below, partly because we play like that sometimes, because that's pickleball, right? After all, everyone gets humiliated sometimes. I do a lot of the time. I make fun of myself. I try to learn from what I did wrong and get better. Move on, move forward, and grow. When you watch some senior pros coming from tennis, they are using a lot of spin on that dink, especially that topspin dink like Joe Perez. Let's look at it right now.
Now we saw Joe Perez hit a beautiful topspin dink, he's in blue, at the beginning of the segment. However, he hits a horrible topspin dink here, and that's my problem with dinking with spin. Do the assets outweigh the liabilities? Because if they do, I'm going to dink with spin, right? Meaning if I dink with spin and win 54% of the points, but if I don't dink with spin and win 56, then I should dink with no spin, right? If I'm making more mistakes.
The major benefit to hitting with spin is you can shape that ball a little more. You can hit a little more offensive shots, right? And you can fool your opponents. However, with great power comes great responsibility, so you might make a lot more mistakes because you have a lot more shots to choose from, especially in the dinking arena.
All's fair in love and war, especially in a pickleball tournament. We gotta play fair, but if dinking with spin wins us more games, hell yeah! Now I have a lot more in-game examples of dinking with spin, but this is super slow motion. This is from our DJI Pocket. Pretty expensive cameras. We're investing here at the Pickleball Pirates. What does dinking with spin mean? It means you're using more wrist. Simple as that.
I started hitting a topspin spin dink a couple weeks ago, partly because senior pro Joe E. Perez pretty much crushed me one game hitting this shot. Let's take a look at it right now.
I think you need to see this one more time. It was in the opening video. But look at Joe Perez. Beautiful reset. He sets it up, hits a beautiful topspin dink forehand. Beautiful. He sees his opponent is looking towards the middle, and then he goes out wide. He holds it till the very end, Look at him. He sees his opponent's move, and then he goes like a little doggy. When the spin dink works, it makes you look and feel like $1 million. But look at the top left-hand corner cliff. This is a fun point, right? And then he tries a somewhat of a dink, right? Hybrid dink drop. What did this do? This got him in trouble because he was trying to be too cute. You know, like Emily from 6th grade that you always had a crush on, too cute. He's trying to be too cute.
Senior pro Mark Napotovich is really chopping down on that backhand dink, right? It works for him, but would I recommend it for an average rec player? No. No, I would not, but let's take a look right now.
When you dink with spin, you are using more wrist. Mark is using more wrist. It's not locked, right? Look at his wrist in this next example. It moves, right? It's not locked. I know you're not going to understand this concept, and there'll be comments because that always is, but look at that recoil.
Dinking with spin is an element of surprise, right? Lots of times your opponents don't recognize you're hitting with spin, and that ball really kicks depending on what spin you put.
We have a dinking war going on. Mark Napotovich is in the bottom left-hand corner, and he's going to try to spin that dink too much, right? Gets him in trouble. I know they missed the speed up, but you can't see that at home. But take a look one more time. I just feel like this is a little too choppy. Maybe not super wristy, but choppy, and that's why it went up. This is at the APP last weekend. Who's Mark Napotovich playing with? Scott Moore. Legend. However, I feel Mark tried to put too much spin on this forehand spin dink and it floats. If you look at his wrist, it moves substantially. Substantially, it's a swipe, right? Like a dating app, swipe right. Horrible joke, I know, but look at his wrist. It's not locked, and that's what I mean. Spin dinks use more wrist, and that's my point. So if you decide to spin dink, you might win more points, or you might lose more points, right? It depends on your decision making. Because if you don't have the right decisions.
Welcome to my neighborhood. I'm going to channel my inner Mr. Rogers. I'm going to gear this towards 3-5 players, how to ATP. It could be that simple. I'm going to talk slower this time. Got a lot of feedback from you people at home. Beginners of all skill levels, including 2Os, you are welcome here at the Pickleball Pirates. We are inclusive. So welcome to my neighborhood.
Welcome to my neighborhood. don't forget to have a good day. And if you're a beginner, it's really nice having you. I'm in the top right-hand corner. I stand out like a painted duck, and I just defended the ATP horribly. Don't let this happen to you.
The main thing 3-0 players do wrong when they're ATPing, I think ATPing is a word, again I'm talking very slow, is they hit that ball too soon, right? That ball is going out wide.
Waiting till the ball gets to the lowest point is what we have to do. Keith did not have this angle in this situation.
So do we want to hit the ball when it's ascending or descending? Descending, yeah, very good. I'm very proud of you. We need that angle to get around the post, right?
Does hitting severe angle dinks open up the ATP? Yes or no? Give me your answer.
Very good. I'm very proud of you. What do you want, a medal?
The ATP is coming right here. It's set up by a severe dink, right? So if you're in a dinking battle with someone with severe angles, this is when to look for the ATP. It should click in your head, right? It's such a fun shot to hit. If you're a 3-0 player, I'm telling you, you gotta try it. Severe angle dink. It opens it up, and then Ed hits it. It's beautiful, right? And he hits that ball when it's descending. Just something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind.
One more thing to think about. If you're ATPing and you don't have it, what do? Probably lob, right? Or dink middle, right? Dink middle shallow. Or try to hit your opponent. Because if you're ATPing, they're trying to defend it, right? So you can try just to hit them outright.
Here it is again. We saw that in the very first example, right? Don't get nervous. Let me put this music on. It's really common. And look at Keith. Is he going to make this one? No, right? What should he have done?
Most 3-0 players really want that forehand ATP, right? The backhand ATP, a lot of them don't quite have that backhand. It's somewhat risky. You might need to really flick that wrist. It depends.
If you're a 3-0, you want to work up to 3-5. You need a drill-in partner. So find one at the rec play court near you today.
If you're playing outdoors, see which way the wind is blowing. If it's blowing right to left, it'd be easier to ATP on the right side because the wind will help shape that ball in. Yeah.
Makes sense, right? And take a look at this. All eyes should be on Ed Perez, top right-hand corner. He's a pro. He hits a beautiful ATP, right? And this is just a beautiful ATP. If you're a 3-0 and you're bored one night, try it in rec play the whole time.
Follow these simple steps, and welcome to my neighborhood, 3-0 players. Very nice having you here. You're going to ATP in a rec play court near you and say, get off my court. Get off my court right now.
Now that you know how to ATP, the next step is arguing over line calls. Was this in or out? Another video has to be done. I'm on it. I'm getting Cliff on the phone right now.
How to look like a 5-0 in pickleball when you're not actually a 5-0, so your friends think you're good. The Kyle Yates trick shot right now. For the record, I love Kyle Yates and I wish I was him. He's a cool dude.
Kyle Yates is such a cool dude. That's Shea Underwood. He can hit the shot too. It's a very, very simple shot to hit. I know it looks very intimidating. That's why we're going to look at it in slow motion right now.
The Kyle Yates trick shot looks like it's extremely complicated, but it's very easy to learn. Pretend you're backhand dinking, turn your wrist, and then forehand dink. Seriously, that's all you do. Pretend you're backhand dinking, turn your wrist, hit a forehand dink, surprise your opponents, look really good, and probably meet your future wife or husband, I'm sure.
It's a simple shot to hit. Pretend you backhand dink, flip that paddle over, and then hit a forehand flick. It's that simple. Let's take a look one more time. Pretend you backhand dink, and then what do? Tell me, I'm listening. You flip that paddle over. I don't think you have it. Go to Joey.
This is how you do the Kyle Yates trick shot one more time. Backhand dink, flip your wrist over, forehand dink. After you hit a winner, yell, get off my court. Get off my court, Kyle Yates. I love Kyle Yates.
Get off my court. Backhand dink. You really sell it. You really sell the backhand dink. Then you flip it over and then you say, look, I got a royal flush.
Do you need a new shot to practice during rec play to make you a better player? Pickleball lovers, get ready to learn the forehand misdirect. It's time to innovate here at the Pickleball Pirates. The Forehand Misdirect right now. The key to hitting the forehand misdirect is a wrist angle, right? Everything else should be the same, right? Forehand roll. Last second, we changed it to that, right? So instead of here, we're here. The ball's going that way. We surprise our opponents. That's why it's called a misdirect.
This shot is underutilized and is hit a lot by 5-0 players, not lower, right? So this is why you should learn it. Look at that wrist angle right there. The wrist angle is the only thing changing. All else is pretty much like a forehand roll, really is. Because this shot can really make you look dynamic. It can change pace of the ball. Go behind your opponents, right? Because they think you're hitting that forehand roll. They're going towards the center, probably. So what do? We hit towards the sideline, towards the feet, take some pace off, get the pop-up, win the point.
The problem with 3-5 and 4-0 players, when they hit the forehand misdirect, they hit it too hard. They really do. Take some off. The misdirect causes pop-ups. That's what it does. It can win the point. It may win the point, but it causes pop-ups. So do it to get advantage of the point. That is the point of pickleball.
This happened yesterday at Clear One. 2 forehand misdirects. See if you can see them. I know it was quick. I know you have a lot to do today. So here is the first one. Take a look. Look at that wrist angle. Look at the pace of that ball. Since it was hit towards the sideline, I want to take some off that, right? If I hit it too hard, it'd probably be out, and then I'm in trouble. So make them run. And take a look at Andre. I played so bad last night at Clear One. Andre played so good. I'm so sorry, man. But that's another version of a forehand misdirect, right? You can hit it on the backhand or forehand middle side. These are 2 really good examples. And that's a Spin Shot ball machine. This segment is brought to you by Spin Shot. I use it all the time. Check the description for pickleball discounts. That way I can keep doing this and you can save money.
One more thing. It's all body language. You got to sell it, right? If you're a salesman or woman, pretend to be doing something else and then misdirect them to the upsell. Do it. The reason you need the forehand misdirect in pickleball is because it keeps you spontaneous. It keeps your spontaneity, you keep your opponents off balance, and that is the point of pickleball. So use it sporadically, but set it up well.
Many times when I look at these shots in slow motion, I learn so much. Again, it's a forehand roll with the wrist angle opened up so you can really surprise your opponents, stay dynamic, cause pop-ups, and win more points.
If you're a beginner, so lucky to have you here at the Pickleball Pirates. You won't be a beginner for long.
I don't know what I feel, but I know that it's showing. I don't know whether it's a friendship or it's...
The problem playing with 3-5 and 4-0 people is you don't get to practice this shot, right? Then you go to the 5-0 or 4-5 level and get crushed because you don't have it.
I'm making a huge push to play pro, and I'm really working on this backhand block on the backhand middle side. It is so important, and I just missed it right there. In my mind, I did not swing too much, but I backed up. I was not balanced. I should have used my left hand to hold it up a little more to keep me more balanced. See how I'm falling back? And that's a huge reason why you miss that backhand middle block. Alejandro just missed it as well. Why did he miss that? It has to be wristy if it's a little higher right. That's the time you want to use wrist. He's playing a pro and you don't have much time, so you might have to compensate with wrist against really good players.
If you're hitting a high backhand counter, they're really going at you, right? They're speeding up from below the net. We have our paddle high, and we need to use some wrist for this high backhand counter. We really do, but not all backhand counters. The high one, not all of them, not all of them. Not all of them, Mom.
Mom, I'll be right there for dinner. But take a look at this backhand block right here. I thought that motion was beautiful. Not much of a swing by Alejandro. He had it. He knows he missed it.
So what do we do to get it better and more consistent? That's what we want to do. Yeah.
Alejandro hits a beautiful backhand block right there, right? Beautiful. Then we get back in the point, dink and battle. And that's a beautiful block by Nick. We can learn so much. Look at Nick in the top right-hand corner. He plays a lot of pro, played Ben Johns, I believe. Really good. Look at him. He's not swinging much. Right here, coming up. See, he's using some wrist, right?
The backhand counter at chest or waist level, what do we want to do? we want to do this. We don't want to change directions with our wrist. That's when there's so many errors. You hit it in the net very easily, or you could go high as well. A lot could go wrong. A lot could go wrong.
No video has ever really been done on the backhand middle like this. And what did I do wrong right there? I jumped. This is the number one thing pickleball players do wrong. Number one, if you on Family Feud, say backhand, block, jump. And you're right. You are right.
If you're a 3-5 player and get a low backhand counter, what do you always do? You speed it up, right? No!
This is a great example of a really good backhand block by Alejandro in the near right-hand corner. It's coming up right there. Just beautiful. Look at that balance. He's so balanced. He blocks it down at that feet, right? That's exactly what you want to do. He pushes them back. He's ready to keep pushing them back. Take a look at this point. Dink and battle. And this is what's going to happen against really good 5-0 pro players. They're not going to go to the same spot anymore, right? They're going to change it up, which makes it so difficult to practice. If you think your opponents are too fast, they probably are. So take a look what Alejandro does in this point. And I would recommend it. Let outballs go. Don't make your opponents look faster than they already are. And look, so now I kind of recognize Mike's countering me. We make this a game. I'm going to put this game out hopefully tomorrow on our channel. It's an awesome game. However, I would not recommend just to keep falling back like I am because I'm not balanced, tough to watch. I know. That's my life, people. I'm a pickleball coach instructor, and I have to watch myself just like fall back like a baby seal. Another thing you can do if you know your opponents are faster than you, have your partner help, right? Because that forehand middle is close to that backhand middle. So I'm kind of trying to pinch in, help Alejandro out. Notice Alejandro's given me space. He almost stepped a step back. So this really does help. Now let's watch some pros backhand block. This is Mike Forrester and one backhand block right there. Beautiful, right? Lower. What a beautiful reset. He didn't try to speed that up. And watch him not swing at that. I know I put it away, not to point that out, Mike, but he's not swinging. He's really balanced, and his weight is just perfect. He's not falling back. He's not falling forward. And if you're balanced, you can look so much quicker than you actually are. Unlike me. Don't be like me. Take a look at that. Beautiful backhand block, no wasted movement, and he takes it right down the middle. He's aggressive, not swinging. This is what you want to do. I waited the whole video to show you what you wanted to do. I showed you bad examples because this does help. After this point, Mike turned to Nick and said, I shouldn't have hit this shot. Why? Because it was an outball, right? I swang so hard at it, and he knows it, and he's so disciplined, but not at that point. Yet he still wins. He still wins.
Do you want to make your pickleball game more dynamic? Well, let's take a look at the Ernie in slow motion right now. Pickleball lovers, don't forget to have a good day.
This is me playing against senior pro Scott Moore. I just returned. I'm in the near left-hand corner. Watch Scott Moore, match point. So simple, right? Is he athletic? Is Scott Moore one of the best, widely renowned senior pros of all time athletic?
We live in the time of constant innovation here at the Pickleball Pirates, the Ernie in super slow motion right now.
Of course, Scott Moore is athletic, but as he ages, he does more and more Ernies because his timing gets better and better, and he recognizes his opponent more and more. He goes right then. It looks like the opponent looks down, but that's not always the case. It depends on your opponent. And timing is everything. If you go a half second too soon, what does that do? It tips off your opponent. So in this example, Keith could have went a lot later. Think of the Ernie as a surprise element that keeps your opponents off balance.
Fallacy number one, the Ernie is an athletic shot to hit. You have to be athletic to hit it. False. It might not be an unathletic shot to hit, but you don't have to be super gifted to hit it. It's all about timing and surprise. So let's take a look right now.
This is Cliff from Cliff Pickleball. Plays some pro, really good friend of mine. And I think he went too soon, but let's watch this whole point. It's actually a really good point. Well, pickleball lovers here. Here it is. He sets it up with a deep dink down the line, right? That's how a lot of Ernies are set up. He went a half second too soon. I think he knows it. He should have timed it one more second later. This is Keith Valentine. This is super slow motion. We just upgraded our cameras here, the Pickleball Pirates. So please subscribe, and that is a perfectly timed Ernie.
Fallacy number two, you have to jump over the kitchen line to hit the Ernie. False. I like to hop, skip, and you don't have to jump. It's not like your mama said. Again, it's all about timing. If you get that skip at the right time, it's a very deceptive shot. They don't see you're moving. They might lob. It causes errors. And even if you don't pull off the Ernie successfully, it might create an error when they're dinking, right? They're surprised. They look down and they're like, oh, shoot. Or they might throw up a lob. It'll help your partner to put it away.
Take a look at the giant in the top left-hand corner. Why did I pick this example? He's taken literally one step. I know he's super big. That's a Burt, really. But you can do this. If he can do a Burt, you can do an Ernie with one step. And what's amazing Ernie defense? Hit the Ernier. Hit the Ernier. It works. I would recommend this as an Ernie defense. Here's some pros hitting the Ernie. These are just really good examples of ways you can Ernie. And some people hit it way too hard. This is pro Steve Deacon. Your partner can set up that Ernie with that forehand dink out wide. And where do we want to target when we set that Ernie up? A deep dink to our opponent's backhand. Deep dink, backhand. They have to choose whether to take it out of the air or let it bounce, and that's when we pounce like Steve Deacon, Canadian #1.
A lot of really good things come out of the Ernie, even if you don't get the Ernie. It's like to give up power, you have to relinquish it. That doesn't even make any sense. One more thing, many times people Ernie and they hit the ball too hard. I would recommend to misdirect it to the other side of the court a little slower, right? Or hit it at that feet. You don't have to put it away. Many times you might gain advantage of the point with the Ernie. If you try to put it away, you might hit it out. You really might.
Obviously, if you have a put away, take it, right? This is Keith Valentine. What did he do wrong in this example? A little too soon. I would have been positioned a little more closer to the sideline, right? Because forehand middle has a lot of the court, so you don't have to jump as much if you skip. In these examples, he's touching the line too soon. Again, he went too late there. If you do, just reset that, right? And if you hit the ball past the net, it doesn't count. It's a fault. Here is a better view. If you make contact with the ball past the net, it is a fault. Now, you can hit the ball and then run past the net. That's fine. Contact has to be made before the net.
I've asked so many pros and senior pros, when do you move on the Ernie? Some say when the opponent looks down to hit the dink. Others say it's all timing. It depends on each opponent. And I think it's more number 2. But if they're looking down like number 1, so do I have to do number 1 or 2? I think I have to go to the bathroom.
Let me finish this segment first. If these pickleball players can hit the Ernie, I think you can too. So try it in a rec play court near you today.
Pickleball lovers, super slow motion of the backhand slice. Don't forget to have a good day. Now is the time for innovation here at the Pickleball Pirates. Super slow motion, the backhand slice.
The backhand slice is one of those shots, if you learn it, people know you're at least a 4-0. So let's learn the backhand slice right now. Go ahead, Joey.
One mistake I see people do wrong with the backhand slice, the face is way too open. It's going to go straight up. Start it a little higher, chop down, lead with that shoulder, and it's going to penetrate through the court more. It really will.
Is this a good or bad backhand slice return? I step with my right foot. I like the fact I did that. I brought my paddle pretty high. However, I didn't bring it back quick enough. I was late on it, and it turned out to be a bad shot. This one is the same case, and I didn't lead with my shoulder. I used too much wrist. It popped up, and I was late, and I'm going off the court, right? Joey, anything you want to add on that backhand slice? Go ahead now.
Another mistake that people do with that backhand slice return is they get to the ball and then start swinging. We want to really prepare as we're going to the ball, so when we get to the ball, we're chopping through that like wood.
Dave, it's a spin shot ball machine. That's how I'm getting so good. Check the description for discounts. Shot this whole segment by myself with it. Chopping through it like wood. Look at that high take back. Look at the shoulder lean down. I lead with the shoulder and my hips open up as I hit it. Take note. Loose wrist, loose wrist. Lead with shoulder. That wrist will naturally come through. You're not really flicking that wrist. It's mostly shoulder, loose wrist. As you hit, you can get through it, right? But it's shoulder and it's setting up. Take a look at this. Look at me set up. It's not running to the ball. I want my momentum to go forward. So where do I need to hit the ball to have my momentum move me forward so I can get straight to the kitchen, because that's the point of pickleball?
When I'm hitting that backhand slice, I'm stepping forward with my right foot. I'm right-handed. That gets my shoulders to turn. As I come to the ball, I start chopping down. And as I open my shoulders up, I should make contact. You see a lot of people open their shoulders up before they make contact. That opens the face of the paddle way too high, and it goes high. Have you seen that?
I've not only seen it, Joey, I've done it, but I've done a beautiful backhand slice return as well. Start high. Start that paddle really high above your shoulder. Drive that shoulder down. Rotate those hips through it. Loose wrist. Let it come over naturally. Let's see that one more time. Stepping forward with that right foot, driving that shoulder into the ground, and that wrist will come through, but lead with the shoulder and have a loose wrist.
The backhand and forehand reset in slow motion. Now is the time for innovation here at the Pickleball Pirates. Pickleball lovers, please leave comments, please subscribe, and don't forget to have a good day. If you're looking to make that jump to the 4-5 and 5-0 level, you need that forehand reset. So let's take a look in slow motion right now.
We just upgraded cameras here at the Pickleball Pirates. Innovation is not dead, after all. Joey, what are they going to learn? How to hit the backhand and forehand reset. You will see what you're doing wrong and the most common mistakes of each, and you're going to learn a lot. And who is that senior pro, American icon, Scott Moore? That's me in the top left-hand corner. I'm playing him, and he can reset extremely well. I'll put this in slow motion. This is what you'll be able to do after this video. And watch this point in slow motion. Watch Scott. That ball may have been going out, but look at that reset and look at this two-handed reset, because in the backhand, that's a two-handed and one-handed reset, and Cliff messed up. What did he do wrong? We'll find out right now. This is super slow motion of the two-handed backhand reset. If it's coming really low, I like to have two hands on it. The reason being, it makes it a lot more stable.
The backhand reset is easier to hit than the forehand reset by most students. When I'm teaching my students, I think they learn the backhand reset better because they can use the left hand to stabilize it, but you don't have to.
This is a one-handed backhand reset. Notice my wrist is pretty much locked. I'm not swinging very much. It's mostly grip pressure that's dictating where I want the ball to go on the court.
The key to resetting is grip pressure. If I want to make the ball go farther with my resets, I have a firmer grip. If it's coming really hard, I have a really loose grip. That way we can recoil.
This is an example of a really hard shot. I'm in the bottom left-hand corner. Take a look at it in slow motion. The ball's coming so hard, I'm putting my left hand to stabilize it, but I swing too much. Scott Moore hits both a two-handed reset and a one-handed reset on that backhand. It's so simple for that one-handed backhand. He's not swinging. Look at the paddle. It literally is grip pressure. This is a two-handed reset. If you take a look, I kind of hit it on the edge of the paddle. So should I have hit a one-handed or two-handed reset? I guess it depends on what you're comfortable with, and you might have more time to hit a one-handed backhand opposed to two, so the setup is shorter for the one-handed backhand, and I make it there.
Bounce or not to bounce? That is a question for reset. This question I ask to many pickleballers, and I get different answers every single time. I ask them, do you take the reset off the bounce or out of the air? A lot of people say off the bounce because they have more time to get set up. However, some people say, especially if you're playing 5-0, it spins way more with these carbon fiber paddles. So if you let it bounce, it might have a funny bounce and you might miss it more. Two schools of thought, one to live by. I don't know which one.
If I'm playing a 5-0 tournament against really good players, I want to take it out of the air. I really do. That's me personally, but I think most 5-0 players would say that because of this reason. You get some funny hops with those carbon fiber paddles. As I said before, take a look at this reset. Is it the right form? Kind of. I liked that I had the paddle out in front of me. I didn't bring it behind me, but I could have probably went a little more horizontal in that case. Maybe I tried to be too cute. Maybe, and maybe this was a very good reset. Pretty high though, right? You could take a look at that Colin John series. He talks about resets. This is an example of what not to do. Do not bring your paddle back. Keep it out in front of you. When you bring it back, it has to go forward and it's going to go too far horizontal. I think you took geometry in high school. If you did it, my apologies. Actually, no, I really didn't like that subject. This is another example of what people do wrong on that one-handed backhand reset. Too wristy. Too wristy. Again, you get the power with the reset with grip pressure, not a wristy movement. And take a look at the forehand reset. Was this a good shot? Because we're going to get in the forehand reset right now, so strap in.
The biggest mistake I see people make with that forehand reset, they bring it back too far. They don't keep the hand right in front of them. It's very important. It really is, because if you bring it back this way, what do you have to do? You have to move this way, which is horizontal, opposed to vertical. Vertical.
This is a huge mistake 3-5 players make. It really is. Take a look at this forehand reset. Was this the right motion? No. It was too wristy. Take a look at this forehand reset. What do I like about it? I kept the paddle out in front of me. I'm using my offhand to keep me balanced. It's not super wristy. I'm using grip pressure to dictate how far I want the ball to go in the court. Here's another reset, same angle, but take a look. That grip is locked in place. I'm not doing a lot with my wrist at all. It is locked in place. I don't know how I can be more clear. And speaking of being more clear, keep that paddle out in front of you. What did I do wrong on this example? I took the paddle back. It had to go forward. You took geometry in high school, I believe. I'm not sure. You never really answered that question. But this is a bad mistake 3-5 players make. As I said before, it really is. Speaking of bad mistake 3-5 players make, too wristy. And that's what I mean. Look at the wrist. You can see it move. Scientifically, it moved in that example. And again, this is me playing Scott Moore. Look at that beautiful reset. Just beautiful reset. The first one's a forehand. We're going to go back right now. You thought I lost you? No, I'm a step ahead of you. I really am. So that is a beautiful example of a forehand reset. One more time. Wrist locked. Is this a good example of a good forehand reset? Take a look. I let it bounce, right? That's okay. You got it? It's too wristy. What about this one? Is this a good example of a reset? Wrist locked, paddle out in front. I like it. I really do. How about this one? Took it out of the air. Wrist locked, paddle out in front. It's a little lower, but that's okay. I like that one. How about this one? Was this a good forehand reset? Sure it was. Might be a little elaborating. How about this one? I think you're getting the hang of it. You saw me take the paddle back. Where is that going to go? Too far forward. You're going to be in trouble. You're not going to have enough time to get to the kitchen, right?
Third shot lob, are you kidding me? Only lower level players hit that shot. Or do they? Because look, AJ Kohler does it and he's cool, so I think you should be too. He's a pro. So in essence, a third shot lob can be used at any level, including pro. AJ Kohler showed us that. Thank you, AJ. I appreciate it very much. So let's learn how to do it right now. Pickleball lovers, don't forget to have a good day. Third shot lob in super slow motion right now. We just innovated here at the Pickleball Pirates. The third shot lob is a surprise element. You don't want to do it all the time. And it's not a replacement for the third shot drop or drive. It really isn't. Second, it's really risky. They could really hit a big overhead if you screw up, or it might go out. So you need the perfect conditions. Let's take a look right now.
As I said in the beginning of the video, that's AJ Kohler. He makes a third shot lob look cool. It's in, it's trendy. He gains advantage of the point with the third shot lob. Pretty cool, right? They win it. Here it is. He bends those knees and he has a loose wrist. He flips it up. When this ball bounces, it bounces hard to the left.
What's the perfect conditions, you ask? One, it's way easier to hit a topspin lob on a slice, right? Because those hard slices are very tough to drop or drive. So you can hit a mean topspin lob off a slice. I'd recommend that. I'd recommend that very much. Second, if someone hits you a heavy drive, I would recommend not to lob it.
We have a ton of in-game examples of this lob later in the video. This is senior pro Mark Napotovich hitting the lob in really slow motion. He has a loose wrist. He's bending those knees. He's thinking of the sky. Joey, any other thoughts?
So here it is in super slow motion. Bend those knees. Think of the sky, right? We're brushing up on a descending ball. The ball's descending, then we start brushing up, right?
Right? Because we have to hit the ball when it's descending. If someone drives it at us, it's going to be tough.
Why? Because the window's pretty small already, and if it's coming really fast, it's a lot easier to hit it too shallow or too deep in the court. 3, if they have a short return and you're inside the court, try it then, because they have less time to react and it's easier for you to hit it and you catch them off guard. 4, if they're running into the kitchen, now it's the time to hit that third shot lob, right? They think you're going to drive it or hit a severe drop, and then you hit that lob. They have to change directions, change momentum. It's going to work.
In the top right corner, Mark Napatovich hits a topspin lob. Is this a good lob? No. It didn't gain advantage of the point. He didn't target one player. It didn't catch them off guard, and I wouldn't say it was a good lob. Take a look at this example. Was this a good lob? No. It wasn't even a lob. That's what I'm saying. This would have been a really good time to lob, a little off balance. It wasn't hit particularly hard. You could have hit it when it's descending. So why not lob in that situation and avoid a mistake, right? I mean, a broken clock's right half the time.
And you ask Joey, why should I hit topspin on that lob? Shouldn't I just lob it up? No. Topspin's so important on that lob because the ball can go higher and faster and it drops, right? So it's dropping with that spin, so a drop inside the court and bounce forward. So this is an offensive shot. It really is. It's an offensive shot. This brings me to my next point. It's coming down a lot faster with that spin. There's a lot better chance they're going to miss-hit it. They're going to hit it out. It's very tough to hit. It really is, especially if it's sunny. And like I said before, they're running back, right? And they stop to hit it. The ball's going to kick towards the fence. It's going to kick away from them, so they're going to have to keep running. So this is why it's offensive.
Is this a good lob? I would say so, right? I think that's a really good lob. It gained advantage of the point. It got them off balance. They were somewhat running in, right? And Joe had some weight forward on his front feet. Mark may have seen that, and it was beautiful. Beautiful shot, Mark. 2 stars for both of you. Everyone gets trophies. Is this a good lob? No. It didn't get them off balance. It didn't gain advantage of the point. 3-5 at best, Mark Napatovich. Senior pro? I don't think so. Not today. Because that wasn't a good lob.
One more thing, you'll get more spin if you keep that wrist relaxed. Floppy. Also, I would recommend to target one opponent and that backhand, right? It's tougher to put away a backhand, or they have to really go this way to get it. So target one person at that backhand. But also hit in between them could work, so if there's a wider gap, throw it up in the middle. Yeah.
Is this a good lob? Heck yeah. Thrown into the sun with a lot of topspin. It's coming down. Heather's a senior pro. She missed that. It's sunny. I think it's a good lob. A very good offensive lob. How about this? Yes. I don't know if this is into the sun because the other one was not. So it wasn't into the sun, but it had a lot of topspin. Eric had his weight on his front feet. Again, another beautiful lob by Mark Napatovich, right? Just beautiful. What else can I say, Mark? It was a good overhead. In this instance, I give you 2 stars. But I take away 1 because I think you should have worn the red shirt. And it's blue again. It's another nice lob. This time it goes off the frame of Eric's paddle. Lots of times it can go off the frame because that is spinning so fast, right? It's really descending extremely fast, so it can go off the side of your paddle or hit the edge guard. Who knows, right? And that's BJ. Throw it up to your opponent's backhand, right? If you can target that backhand, I would highly recommend this. I recommend this highly. The offensive lob is a weapon. It can be used not too often, right? Once or twice a game, but it causes confusion. Look, you throw it up in the middle, your opponents panic, they almost collided. You could almost call the ambulance in this instance. There's always tomorrow, and what do you think is going to happen? They're going to collide right now? No, almost, but it happens a lot, so that's why I'm showing more examples, you know? And then, what about this? Again, Eric is a senior pro. He can hit an overhead, I guess. We have like 4 examples in this video. I'm sorry, Eric. Apology letter is in the mail. I did buy you a hot dog.
The main mistake most pickleball players making when hitting that two-handed attack, that coming through with that right hand, right? It's not a one-handed attack. It's completely different with coming through with the other hand. So keep this in mind.
Constant innovation here at the Pickleball Pirates, because we may love pickleball just as much as you do.
I'm Joey, I'm at my home court. It's going to teach you the mechanics of a forehand because I'm very good at that. And we have the spin shot. The spin shot is a ball machine with a brain that you could program to practice anything you want. So let's get started right now.
Super slow motion of the two-handed backhand attack. This took me forever to do because there's so many misconceptions about what generates power for a backhand. Stick with me. What is generating power for this backhand? If you're right-handed, the left hand is generating power for that backhand. Think of it as a left-handed forehand. It will make things a lot easier going forward. And if you're a tennis player, think of it as an open stance backhand, right? Serena Williams has that huge open stance backhand. And what did I do wrong in this example? We'll get to it later in the video. Pickleball lovers, strap in because we're about to learn the two-handed backhand attack right now.
A shot that Ben Johns had to utilize with the rise of the carbon fiber paddles, the power game, and the spin is a two-handed backhand attack. Let's look at that in super slow motion right now. Pickleball lovers, don't forget to have a good day.
Let's see some pros hitting that shot. I think you know everyone on this court. Riley Newman is in the near left-hand corner, has one of the best two-handed attacks in the business. Here it is in slow motion. Is that much of a take back with this backhand? I don't think so, right? Not much. Here it is again. And look how quick he gets to it. This is one of the big differences between tennis and pickleball. Which brings me to my next point. Always have your backhand ready, locked, and loaded. So when you practice, start out like that. Take a look near left-hand corner one more time. Riley Newman. He's the best in the business. He's locked and loaded, ready, no take back, so he can look a lot faster than he really is, which is a key to pickleball. Really is. Take a look at Riley Newman's setup for this backhand. He lets it bounce, which you can do when you attack. You really can. And look how he's generating power with that left hand. He's right-handed, so that's his offhand, right? If you're ambidextrous or extremely good with your left hand, I would suggest a two-handed backhand attack. So try it in rec play at a court near you today. Highly recommend.
One mistake you see tennis players make when they're coming into pickleball with that two-handed backhand attack, because it's a lot like the two-handed backhand in tennis, right? Is that take back is too long. This is close quarters fighting, and tennis players don't understand fast reaction times. I said it. So I would suggest instead of having this long-winded take back or loopy take back, have it cocked already, right?
This is why I say it. Take a look. Ben Johns is going to attack Riley Newman right now, right? Since Riley Newman has no take back, he doesn't rocket it, right? If you have a bigger take back, you're going to swing more. When you swing more, it's going to come back harder. You're going to be in trouble, especially against Ben Johns. So do what Riley Newman did right there. This is a fun point. Watch this whole point. Some two-handed backhands are used. Again, Riley Newman is in the near left-hand corner. You're going to see a very good two-handed backhand and this point right there, right there. Let's see that in slow motion because we could break that down. Here it is, right? He's coming over that ball with his left hand. Right hand is a placeholder. Highlight that in your notebook right now.
So many aspects of two-handed backhand attack in pickleball is a lot like the two-handed backhand in tennis. The main difference being that the hit point in tennis is always the same. You want to move back, really hit waist level. However, in pickleball, you don't have that luxury. Which brings me to my next point. Another mistake you see pickleball players making, they want that hit point to be here all the time, right? Think of it this way. If you're right-handed, think of the two-handed attack as a left-handed forehand with the right hand being a placeholder, right? Placeholder, get it high, left-handed forehand. Right here, placeholder here, lower, I'm going to have to brush up, hit a lot more topspin. So think of it as a left-hand forehand.
Think differently. I think that was IBM's model before they really stopped innovating. Unlike the Pickleball Pirates, take a look at the two-handed backhand attack in slow motion. Look how I'm pivoting off my left foot. I'm right-handed. Again, I can turn in this scenario, right? But if I'm at the kitchen line, Think about it. If I turn like that at the kitchen line, I'm in trouble. So you can drive like this, but when you get to the kitchen, you're gonna push off that left foot, and I'll show you some examples right here. Anna Leigh Waters, God's gift to pickleball. The goddess of pickleball. She is incredible, has one of the biggest two-handed backhands I've seen, generates so much power, and look at that. It's an open stance backhand like in tennis. She's going off that left foot, no steps. I wish we had a better view. We do. We do, because we innovate here at the Pickleball Pirates. Look at that. An open stance, two-handed backhand. In this example, Ben Johns, top right-hand corner, best player in pickleball, is going to hit a one-handed backhand attack. Doesn't quite put it away, right? And this is why he had to learn the two-handed backhand attack. I was so happy when I found this example. One-handed backhand attack, that's the next lesson we're going to be doing, but he doesn't quite put it away. That's why Ben Johns learned the two-handed backhand attack, and you see him hitting the shot so much more in the last couple months, like 6 months. I mean, if Ben Johns is doing it right, and what did I do wrong in this example? I told you I would tell you, and I'm going to tell you, I started the paddle too low. The ball was coming higher. I should have started it high, like at my head, and hit down on the ball.
Pickleball lovers, this video was so good. I know you watched every single shot in super slow motion. I know you really liked it, but let me ask you one question, because I really want to keep you here. I don't want you to leave. I know you spent a long time already, and I feel like we're committed, so it'd be nice if you click here, you know. I don't like getting turned down after a blind date. And pickleball lovers, don't forget to have a good day.